Hey everyone, we're going to change the oil of my son's TU250x today. Stay tuned. Yes, I helmet up anytime I start the engine to ride it, even if it's just a little bit. Alright, that's all warmed up. Good to go. Hopefully that's still rolling. Alright guys, so this is pretty simple actually. This cover here is for the oil filter. So all my pre-fill guys, I don't know how we're going to pre-fill this one because it goes in sideways and it's a cartridge. But anyway, that's beside the point. We got 3 bolts that we'll take off there. We'll go ahead and loosen up the drain, the fill cap, just so we can depressurize the crankcase and let the oil drain out a little easier. And then I'm going to get you guys down low and show you where the actual drain plug is on the bike, because if you've never done it before, it could be confusing. So I'll snap a picture of that somewhere in this general area, pointing to the one that you actually want to take out. So nothing left but to do it, so let's get it done. So on these oil filter bolts, what I'm going to use is, let me get you guys on in here. See how they're crowned? So I'm going to use a deep well socket to get in there and get those off, because a shorter socket may booger up that bolt, and I don't really, or the nut, and I really don't want to do that. So I'm going to use a deep socket just so we can take care of that. But of course I want to get the bolt off the bottom first, the drain plug. Make sure we're in good shape there, get the oil draining out of this bike. I went ahead and broke out my old Craftsman metric set. These tools that I have here are Cobalt, and they're great. I love my Cobalt tools. But I just wanted to show you that my Cobalt 17 is a 12 point, and my Craftsman's a 6 point. It's a 6 point bolt. So while the 12 point will do the job, you'll tend to round off nuts more if you use the 12 point on a 6 point bolt. So if you guys are having problems rounding off nuts and stuff like that, double check your sockets. You might be using a 12 point when you probably should be using a 6 point. You can get away with it if they're not too tight without boogering everything up. But in this case, I'm just going to go straight for the 6 point and not even try to have a problem. So some stuff came out that I didn't expect to come out. Alright guys, so I made a mistake. Let me show you guys what mistake I made. I took out this this drain plug, this one right here, and looks like a drain plug. It had marks where somebody else has already taken it out, and whenever I dropped it, this came out as well. That. And this nice little spring right here. All those came out. And so I immediately went, okay, I just did exactly what I warned everybody not to do, and took out the wrong plug. It's pretty confusing under there. The picture I showed a few minutes ago is the exact same thing. So I had to get on the old Google box and figure out what I did wrong. Here's basically a parts diagram that shows how this should be. And so I'll try to take a screenshot of that and drop it in here as well. But basically, if you have a TU250 and you've done this mistake, don't move the bike, don't rock the bike, don't do anything. The plunger goes this way, and then this way, the spring underneath, and then we've got this underneath. So it should look exactly, or it should be assembled back in this order, and just like that. I hope you guys can see that. And so if you make a mistake, don't worry about it, just troubleshoot it, and you know, do your best to fix it. It's all you can do, really. And so let's get this part put back together, and we'll get back working on the bike. This oil change should be done hopefully in just a few minutes. All right, let's take the right one off now. Make sure we got everything drained out. And the torque spec on this is somewhere around a half a UGA. So just give it about half a UGA, and then you're good. We'll check for leaks afterwards. There's actually a specific torque spec. I'll put it in there somewhere. So torque spec should be about half a UGA. Just give it a good go. Put it back together. All right. And so, yep, it's definitely a 1/4 Newton UGA. So we'll go ahead and get this guy off. Get these 3 broken off. It's real nice of Suzuki to like tell you exactly how much oil goes in the vehicle. 1,400 milliliters or 1.5 quarts. And this also has a real plain stamping on it. It says oil filter. It's been nice on the bottom if they'd have done that for the drain plug. All right. That nut, it's actually a nut. Nut comes off. Let's see if we can get this off with our hands. Yep. So it should come off with a spring. Make sure you retain that spring, and don't take it off. Just leave it on there. It'll be just fine. And the filter is directional. And so on one side of the filter that will not have an O-ring, the other side does have an O-ring. This one didn't have a new washer or new rubber gasket. So I transferred the old one over to the new one. Don't think that's ideal. So that's good. Washer looks good. I guess because you have these gaskets. And I want to make sure that these gaskets go right back where they came from. All right. Looks good. I'll give her a good wipe. Make sure she's good and clean. Get our little nuts back on. I know from past experience to not just ooga all these down at one time, but you kind of want to walk around it and make sure that you're getting it clamped down evenly. That should do it. Alright, so now let's go ahead and add our oil. 1 whole quart of oil. Most quart jugs have this gradient on the side, so we'll be using that to try to make sure that we only put half a quart in here. So just using some general purpose cleaner here and cleaning off the oil off the bike. I don't think there's a way to do this without actually getting oil everywhere. Not like the Silverado though. Silverado's ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. On this bike, you check right there on that little weep hole, or the little viewport. And as you can see, we're pretty low. And I think the reason for that is because I drained the transmission crankcase and the crankcase. So I think that we've got a little bit lower quantity than what we normally should. So I'm going to go ahead and pour some more oil in here, because quite a bit came out whenever we changed it, drained that fluid out of the transmission. So I'm just going to add fluid until I see some in the weep hole before I even start it. So if we can just get it to touch the line, and then I'll be satisfied to start it and let the oil run through it and see what we can do. But even full, she may not show if you don't set it up. So yeah, there we go. Now it's showing in the in range already, and so she'll still probably be a little bit low whenever we start it and let the oil filter run up. But let's go ahead and kick this bad boy into neutral. See if we can get her to start. No leaks. We're in pretty good shape. Good. So I suspect I need to put the rest of that other quart in there because she's filled up the oil filter now and she's pretty empty. So most channels will just tell you that I did a complete drain, and you know, that's why it's taking 2 quarts instead of a quart and a half. Nope, I made a mistake, but that's actually okay because I'm getting a more complete drain and fluid exchange, and so that's good. So we'll just let that guy run on out, and I do have a 3rd quart if I need to use it, and so we'll check that here in just a second. What we're using is this Suzuki X-Star, E-C-S-T-A-R 1040 engine oil. And so let's get it pulled back over. So it's in between the full and the empty line now. Get the bike pulled up on its side so it's kind of straight up and down, and you can see she's full, so we're good to go. So if you accidentally drain the transmission like I did, get your parts put back in there, you're gonna be right at 2 quarts. Alright guys, so that'll pretty much do it for today. We're going to take the old TU250 for a test ride real quick. Make sure all the gears and everything's changing the way it should. Don't think I'll have any problem. You got to see a little mistake that you can make easily on this bike. You can easily drain the transmission and you drop a little plunger and a spring out. If you do that, don't worry about it. Just let it go ahead and drain, and then put your plunger and your spring back up in the little diagram that I showed you. Hope that was helpful to some of you guys. Maybe you can avoid making that mistake. Or if you want to really drain everything, then follow that same procedure, I suppose. But I don't think that there's any need to do that. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I do want to stop and thank everybody that's watched this channel over the past year or so. It has done way more than what I ever thought it would. I just thought it was me and my wife making a video of the 2.7 pulling a trailer up Mont Eagle Mountain. I figured it would end there. But I appreciate every view. I appreciate every comment, even the comments that may be a little trollish in nature, but that's fun. It's part of the fun of it, right? So appreciate every one of y'all. 2024 has got a lot in store for us. We've already got some projects lined up that we're going to be working on. And speaking of which, what do y'all think about the TU250? It's not a big hog, but man, this little bike's a lot of fun to ride. So maybe more content will come with this bike. My son's looking to sell it and upgrade and get a bigger bike. I've had bigger bikes. I may just pick this one up from him. I don't know what y'all thinking. You think the channel might like that? Maybe get some motor vlogging in and things like that. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Thank y'all so much and Happy New Year 2024.